Hey, everybody, and welcome to Film, where we break down films in the way anyone can enjoy. Whether you're new to movies or a seasoned fan, you're in the right place. Now, for this video, we are going to be breaking down Megalopolis. Just saw it, and we're going to be talking about my likes and dislikes of the movie. Now, one thing I really liked through the whole movie was Lawrence Fishburne narrating during the every scene. I thought he was really I thought he really set the tone for the movie. Like seeing that scene of Adam Driver's character, aka Caesar, coming out onto the roof and he's looking over the city and he's doing that thing with time, but we're hearing Lawrence Fishburne's narration in the background. It was just so it set the tone so well. I was really drawn into the movie right when I heard him talking and seeing that scene, and I just thought that was really really good. I thought that was really really good and underrated. I don't think anybody talked about that. I didn't see any post on Twitter about it. Usually I do see when something like that is happening, but he did a really good job. And honestly, he has a really nice voice. I could see him up there with the Morgan Freemans or the I almost said Matthew McConaughey. I don't think he's done narration, but honestly, it was that good, and I think he should definitely do more narration in the future. Um, Adam Driver's character, Caesar, very interesting character, very weird at the start, but interesting. I thought Adam Driver did a good job. I thought he was cool. I thought he was an interesting person for sure. I mean, we'll talk about it later in the video, but I just thought there were some things that I thought could have been explained more. And you know what? I did mention the time stop, but there was a time little stop thingy that happened in the middle of the movie where he could stop time in a way. And I thought they would elaborate more on that. Maybe I just didn't get it, but it just didn't seem the way the movie ended and the way the time stop was shown towards the end. I just didn't get it. I didn't understand why he could do that and why at the end of it something happened involving that. It didn't make any sense, and I was hoping for it to make sense. I thought that this was going to be more of a creator type thing, like he was playing God or something, but it wasn't really like that. So I was a little disappointed on that end. But Adam Driver still did a very good job. Giancarlo Esposito, he was really good in this movie. I loved his acting. I loved how his character was. The second act or the middle of the movie was kind of what threw me off of all these characters. Because the first act, I thought it was really good. It drew me in. I was getting locked into the movie quickly. I was making all these theories. I was wondering what was going to happen with Shia LaBeouf's character, who was Claudio in this movie. I was wondering what was going to happen with Julia's character. I mean, with Julia in the movie. All of that disappeared when we got to the middle of the movie. It felt like there was structure, and then right when you get to the middle, it was what is going on? You have this storyline, you have that storyline, you have just this party in the Colosseum that I thought was pretty cool. And let me mention that too. The modern Rome idea, or the new Rome, I thought that was pretty cool. It was pretty much just a futuristic New York with Rome aspects to it, but I thought that was really cool. I actually kind of like Julia and Caesar's relationship in the movie. I felt like in this way, it made sense to me. She was this woman at the start who was driven by parties, just excitement, everything around her friends. She seemed like she was an adult that we saw, but she was acting more like a child. So then when she grew an infatuation with Caesar, it seemed genuine. And then when you saw her around Caesar more, you saw her grow up more, act a little bit more mature. And through that, she was bettering Caesar, which I just really liked. And I think that was a cool aspect that not a lot of people are probably going to talk about, but I appreciated that because it showed it was a healthy relationship, and she helped him through some hardships and he helped her. And I just think that was a cool positive dimension. Two other performances that I really liked in this movie was by Shia LaBeouf and Aubrey Plaza. I think their two characters, as weird and as evil as they were, I really liked the way they operated in the movie. They caused a lot of mayhem. They caused a lot of trickery, or should I say just I forgot the word for trickery, like just a lot of mischief, and they were like just two Lokis messing around in New Rome, and I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought I was getting so annoyed when they were messing with Caesar in certain ways, and but that's the whole point of their characters. So I really did like their performances. If I had to choose between the two on who like really grabbed my attention, it was probably Shia LaBeouf. Like I don't know why his character was just actually pretty smart, like in the movie. Like no matter how annoying it was, he was really smart, and I thought that was really cool. The last thing that I'm gonna say that I liked in the movie is I want to say it might be a spoiler, but it involved the satellite that you saw throughout the film, and I just want to say what happens with that satellite I thought was pretty cool, and the way it was shot, and I want to say it was an allegory for something. I'm not too like in the mode when it comes to talking about allegories, but I just when you see that scene, I think you'll appreciate it. I think it was a pretty cool scene. But yeah, that's probably my last like. But let's get into my dislikes. This may be big because there were a lot of things that confused the heck out of me, and there were a lot of moments that were just super weird to me, and I was wondering like why was this in the movie, because it just felt like there was a lot going on at the last minute. But let's get into it. So one of the first things was when Caesar is on top of, I want to say, a tower or a clock, I want to say, the CGI for that, or the VFX, did not look good in my opinion. In this movie, I want to say I think it was a $200 million budget movie, but it it reminded me of Spy Kids. Like, did you guys ever see that fourth Spy Kids movie that came out when I want to say I was like, I want to say 10 or 11 years old when that movie came out, but it reminded me exactly of that type of CGI or VFX for those moments. Like, and there were like 3 or 4 scenes where that came up when he's on top of that little clock looking out through the city, trying to gain inspiration to build something for architecture reasons, but it did not look good in my opinion. There was a scene where Claudio Caesar and Aubrey Plaza's character, I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but they met to talk about something, and I was just confused on how it developed, how it was going, and I kind of feel like I got the general idea but didn't, but I thought it was weird, and it's probably because I didn't like what was going on prior. And what I mean is there was a scene that happened before the meeting where I thought the movie could have ended on a good note, where it could have been a sign of encouragement and just a bettering of humanity in a way. I don't want to spoil it, but that's how I felt with it. But when different events started developing and it didn't end there, I was kind of like bummed out, and I was kind of like, why is this being dragged on the way it is? And going from that scene, the meeting that I'm talking about between Claudio Caesar and Aubrey Plaza's character, to how the movie initially ended, and like I said before, I didn't like the ending. That kind of killed it for me. That was kind of like, oh my goodness, like what are we doing? The scene where Julia's character was instructed by Caesar to like imagine a world in all this like trash or whatever they created, I thought that was super silly. I thought that was super weird. I just wasn't really a fan of it. Like maybe you all are probably like, oh well, the CGI VFX doesn't really matter that much, but to me in that scene, like when you're, and then like how it ended, like you're trying to get a taste of how she imagines a world, and I feel like they did a pretty good job. Like she did a pretty good job explaining that, but then like the way it was like the way the CGI and VFX looked for that, I can't even say it looked like Spy Kids. Like it looked like something from a storybook little kids animation type thing. It just didn't look good, and I thought for that, like I feel like that was a key moment to like for the ending, and the way it just didn't seem like they tried super hard with that scene in my opinion. I think it was still really cool that like we saw her once again mature through the movie and like grow up in a way, but it just didn't make sense towards the end. One of the other things that was bothering me, and it might be a little small complaint, only because, you know, in Rome there was a lot of sibling lust, mother son type stuff going on sometimes. Like I know Oedipus and all that, there was some stuff going on with it, but there was a lot of sibling lust talks or quotes in the film, and I thought that was really weird. Like it made me uncomfortable. Like it reminded me of incest, and it just it didn't really seem like it had to be in there. Like I know you're trying to imitate Rome in a way, or history, and I know that back in history and even today there's still stuff like that going on, but I didn't really need to see that. I didn't really need to like know, oh, like this person is sleeping with his sisters, and I'm like, bro, do I really just need that image in my mind? Like, do I really need to like hear that? And that was just a bother to me. Like, I know there's going to be people going like, well, that happened in the past and all that, but you know, I don't need to see or hear that, if I'm being for real. And one of the other really silly, weird moments that I thought didn't really need to be in the movie, that I thought was really weird and probably really out of the blue, was Claudio's father and Eros. I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to spoil too much, but that was really, I felt like that was super unnecessary to put in the film. Like, I thought that was super unnecessary. Like, it's a modern Rome, and did he really need Eros to do what he did? Like, did he? Let's be for real. Like, and I want to know what you guys thought about that. If you guys have seen Megalopolis, do you feel like it was very symbolic to put that in? Or do you feel like it was just really stupid and silly? Because it felt like a kid's movie, or not even kids. It just felt like a silly PG-13 movie at that moment. Like, it just felt, it seemed out of place. It seemed out of place, and I just didn't like it. But to be honest, if I had to give an overall grade scale out of 10 on this movie, I want to give it a 5 out of 10. I just, like I said, the start of the movie felt like there was something going on with it. Felt like I was really drawn in, but right when the middle of the movie happens and then I get to the rest of it and I really hated the ending, I just didn't feel like it was that strong of a film. I was hearing stuff, like there was a post saying that Francis Ford Coppola was working on this movie for like 30 years or 30 plus years. I would believe that for the start of the movie, but then the rest of it, I'd be like, nah, bro, like you definitely rushed the heck out of it or something. I don't know. I just wasn't really a big fan, but let me know what you guys thought down below. I'm your host, Film, and I'll see you later.